Bienvenidos, all bad pipes podcast.
Hello, I'm your host, Andrew Weaver.
And I'm your host, Greg.
Damn
it. In all seriousness, though, we got very serious talks about today.
We got the news segment. The news segment's back, and then we're doing some AI talk. We're rehashing the lost episode 1.
Just kind of doing like a little like Endcap on this AI saga we've been going through here.
Yep. You've still been building some AI friends. You've still been
use it like all the time.
You're still popping off on there. You like
preposterous.
You honestly, like number one guy.
I've got like one character right now that the first character I ever made for some reason now is like really popping off.
Oh shit.
We're talking about Talkie, by the way, an AI camaraderie app. Let's save that for later. First, let's get to, because this is the news episode, doing a whole little news episode. We're talking about Hasbro laying off Wizards of the Coast staff and how that's baffling and could lead to a brain drain. This is coming from an article from GeekWire from December 14th.
Yeah. Last week they let go of 1,100 people within the company.
They would eliminate an additional 1,100 workers throughout its global operations as part of what CEO Chris Cox called a strategic transformation. And this was on top of previously announced cuts in January. Initially, it was unclear whether those layoffs would hit Wizards of the Coast, which seemed like it might have been protected given its value to Hasbro's portfolio. And as has been the case for the last couple of years, Hasbro's gaming endeavors, led by Wizards of the Coast, have been the only consistently profitable part of the company. In its most recent earnings report, Hasbro wrote that its toy and entertainment segments are both losing money, while its gaming segment's revenue grew by 40% in Q3 2023. So let's just talk about that for a moment.
Yeah. So obviously, gaming. I mean, it's very clear. D&D. I'm sure any board games. Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering is making the most money it's ever made right now, and I wonder if that is the increase in profit that they're talking about with Wizards of the Coast, because I know that the books have not been selling as well, and specifically with D&D, I think that consumer confidence is at like an all-time low because of like all of the events of this year.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this graph of the net revenues, and I'm like, entertainment down 42%, like consumer products down 18%. It's you look at that, Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming 40% in the positive.
Yeah, and so
that's a lot.
Entertainment would be like films and things, so that would be like your Transformers movies and whatnot. Which Transformers movies used to be like. Every movie was guaranteed $1 billion, whereas this most recent one, I think, struggled to hit like, oh god, what was the name of it again?
Wasn't it like Rise of the Beasts? Yeah.
Yeah. Box office $439 million. That is abysmal compared to previous.
What they used to be hitting.
Previous movies. Yeah.
I mean, It's wild, but I mean, I think it checks out.
I mean, it's probably because they put Pete Davidson in the movie.
Fair, yeah.
My notorious hatred of Pete Davidson. But yeah, I mean that's significant. I mean, we were kind of surprised because the D&D movie was pretty good, but it also was not particularly a success. I would watch the movie again. I did enjoy it. But I don't think that it had broad appeal. And I think that it was coming off of the back of the OGL scandal. And I think that people are just mad. People are mad right now at Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've talked about it before, and it's clear that it feels very clear that they're trying to move to this online subscription model and move away from. I mean, they cut their biggest publisher. You know, it just seems like they're trying to get people to pay a monthly fee rather than buy a book and be able to play,
which is so
unlimited amount. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've always hated, and I don't know if we ever addressed this, but some of my other play groups I had addressed it with. I just love the classic. You print out a character sheet and you write your shit down with pencil and eraser, and like you don't. I don't know. I had too many players trying to be like, oh yeah, I'll just bring my laptop and my or my iPad, and like I have like everything on like D&D Beyond or like on here. And I have my character sheet on this iPad, and I'm just like, there's just something about having pencil and eraser on a fucking piece of paper, and like having your books in hard copy.
Yeah. The only issue there is that like things in books will get like retconned, you know?
Yeah.
So like my player's handbook still has that if a fighter uses action surge, they get an action and like potentially a bonus action, depending on what it is they're trying to do. Whereas like the modern action surge is you just get an action back. So if you're like a 2-weapon fighter, that's a serious nerf, because it used to be you could action surge and attack again with like main hand attack, offhand attack. Whereas modern fighter is like you can, if you're 2-weapon fighting, you can attack, offhand attack, action surge to main hand attack again. Which is a significant nerf because that's one less attack. Which I don't feel like the offhand attack was that much of a like game changer, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just me griping about that. But like, books do get errated, and the online stuff does stay up to date. But at the same time, if you're having to do a subscription to get access to all of that stuff, that's like really frustrating. Which leads us kind of into like a broader discussion about like digital stuff. And like digital is not permanent, and there's no more proof to the pudding of that than the fact that for this last episode, we wanted to watch HBO's Raised by Wolves, but it is no longer on HBO Max, and it is apparently not available for purchase anywhere on the internet. At least without having like a VPN or something, which I don't, because I'm not that much of a Giga nerd. So
yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
so
I have one, but yeah, I am a Giga nerd.
A Giga nerd who doesn't game. Ridiculous, fucking preposterous.
Giga nerd. But yeah, no, I'm sure it's one of these cases of HBO, not wanting to pay the royalties to
Ridley Scott and everyone
the
else
writers.
associated
Yeah.
with it.
Yep.
To bring it back to the article, though, those affected, as per a list assembled by comicbook.com's Christian Hoffer, include Mike Merles, who is Magic the Gathering's director and former Dungeons and Dragons creative director, Amy Dallin, D&D Beyond host and producer, I think it's Aiton Bernstein, D&D's senior development editor, Larry Frum, senior communications manager, and Bree Heiss, D&D art director. Some employees also opted, according to an internal memo from Cox, to voluntarily accept early retirement. So, at the time of writing, it's unclear why Hasbro has chosen to lay off employees at the single strongest company in its portfolio. This year, Wizards debuted a critically, if not commercially successful major motion picture, earned a Game of the Year trophy at the 2023 Game Awards, and was consistently profitable, but Hasbro is still sacking its employees. It's the sort of math that only makes sense if you got shareholders to placate.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, sacking a lot of your like upper leadership seems like a really weird decision to me. MTG director, D&D Beyond host and producer, senior development editor, senior communications manager, art director. And the art director one is interesting because we've already heard about them using AI art, or artists with them using AI assisted art for books.
I'm actually curious if they had another scandal, because recently, I think it was like the actual Magic the Gathering, that put out a statement again about using AI, and I saw something about some sort of card that accidentally got printed in the new set in the first run, that they were like, they posted about correcting it. I don't know. I don't know if they had another incident where, you know, we've had one before where someone stole art and like improved it with AI or whatever. It's just, dude. The quality control on their shit is just, for how much money they're making off of it. I don't know. I've put away my Magic cards pretty much for good, because I have just all these decisions they're making and everything that's clearly a cash grab. It's just like, at this point, I'm just fucking exhausted with it.
I mean, I haven't touched paper since Ikoria. I do play Arena a lot, but I'm not like dumping money into Arena.
Yeah.
This is an interesting little comment in this article. With Hasbro's most recent round of layoffs, there's a real possibility we could see a brain drain from Wizards to Paizo and other independent shops in the Washington area, such as Kobold Press. Now, years ago when we were playing, I bought it was basically a monster manual that was from Kobold Press, and I loved it. I thought it was like so much better than the monster manual that Wizards had put out. It was like twice as thick, and it gave you a ton of assets, like a ton of different things that you could use. And like I looked at that, and then whenever other books would come out, like the Dragon Compendium book or whatever that was, and I was like, this is fucking abysmal. This is like 90 pages of like worthless information. You could have, as like a half decent DM, just like made these and not paid $50 for this book. Like, yeah, that's pretty much the end of the article, though. Wizards already has a packed schedule for D&D's 50th anniversary in 2024 with a big rules update and several new projects in the wings. It's positioned to have a good year. If Hasbro continues to treat Wizards as carelessly, however, it could bring D&D and Magic's current boom period to a sudden stop. I mean, that's very true. All it takes is like another OGL level scandal for people to be like, all right, this is it. That's the final straw. I'm not touching anything that Hasbro or Wizards has their fingers in.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm already there. I mean, I love my card games. I know we talked about it. I've just made the switch over to the One Piece card game because I like the way it's structured. I like the way it plays. You know, it seems like Bandai, even though they're having issues with the quantity they can print and keeping up with demand, like, I at least don't feel like I'm constantly having like premium product shoved down my throat that is like, oh, here's this collector's fucking booster box if you want the nice cards that you gotta pay like $500 fucking dollars for. Which is like,
yeah, and it's a smaller box.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, oh, here you get 12 packs for $500. That was like, dude, I think I was at Target the other day and I saw that they had the like Lord of the Rings, like the new like holiday set thing they came out with for Lord of the Rings. They had like collector's booster. They're going for $40 fucking at Target for one booster pack.
Booster, like 15 cards?
Yeah, I think it's only 12 in that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, no fucking way.
That's I looked at that and I just, yeah, it's one booster. Let me see how many cards. Okay, it is 15. 15 cards. A single booster pack of 15 cards, $40 for the collector booster special edition of the Lord of the Rings set.
Good lord. This is kind of funny, a little off topic, but a new guy at work came up to me and he's like, I heard through the grapevine that you play Magic. And I was like, I just turned around and was like, oh boy, what do you play? what do you play? And he's like, and I'm like, is it Commander? Because if you say Commander, I'm gonna have to poo poo on you. He's like, yeah, we do play Commander, and I was like, oh no, dude, I don't touch Commander. I do not play Commander anymore.
Dude,
I play like 60 card stuff, but I am not playing Commander.
Dude, when I came home for Thanksgiving, and I went to like the Kava bar and like was just like trying to play for fun, run some Commander, and I just remember sitting there and like they were getting ready for like a pre-con tournament where you could only play pre-cons, and I just like I have like this fun fucking like elf. It's just the Kaldheim elf deck, and I play against some dude. It's just like the power creep is just so like it's so obvious. Some dude was playing the new whatever the new set was, the new Ixalan like dinosaur commander deck, and just steamrolled fucking everyone. And I was just like, you know what?
Did like a Gishath deck, didn't they?
Yeah. They did like it has the new mechanic that's like basically like a crazy sort of like cascade. I think it's like a version of Explore Cascade or something.
Descend. So what you do is you exile cards until you exile a permanent with that mana value or less, and then you can cast it from exile for free. I've been playing a lot of that on Arena, and it's typically the not Descend. It's not Descend. What is it? Explore?
I think it is Explore. Let me see. No, it's not Explore.
Discover. It's Discover. That's what it is.
Discover is the one. Yeah, he was playing it's Pentlaza Sunfavored, I think is the commander of it. I'm looking at it right here, and dude, he just steamrolled everyone, and I just sat there, and I was thinking about like I was considering playing in that tournament that they were going to have there on Saturday.
If it was like a Gishath based deck, then it was like red, green, white. That is kind of what they do.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, you ramp and then you put out big things earlier than other people can, and try to.
But I'm like,
big things out that you can swing.
Yeah, we played a 4-player pod, and it just wasn't even close for anyone. And he also was just being a dick. I felt it was one of those situations where I'm just like, just specifically targeting me. And I just sat there and I was like, dude, why do I even play this? I never have fun playing Commander. I was like, I'll play 60 card formats. I'll enjoy them. Commander just it's too long and it's too one-sided. There's just it just feels
a very, very short game of Commander is like 25 minutes. Whereas like a very short game of a 60 card format is like, oh, I swung out in one turn 4, you know?
Yeah.
And you can play like 7 or 8 games of 60 card and the amount of time that it takes like one full Commander game. So it's like, why would I want to play one game for 3 hours?
Exactly.
It's fucking boring, man.
Yeah. No, that's my thing. Is like some of the 4 pods we play and just go for like 2 hours or more. And I just like I'm wasting my time here.
Yeah.
So that was. I think that was like the moment I was just like, you know what, I just don't want to play Magic anymore. Like, I mean, like I'd consider maybe going on Arena and puts it around with some standard or what's the other historic on Arena.
Alchemy now.
Yeah, or Alchemy. But like, I just have the problem is Commander just has a chokehold on everyone. That's all anyone ever wants to play. That's like the majority of products I feel that like Wizards is putting out now.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be every set came out with like 5 or 6 like entry level 60 card decks, and now they don't do those anymore. They do a Commander set with each set.
Every single set comes out with 4 fucking Commander decks.
Yeah, and they're all like $45 each.
Yeah.
Retail, and then after like the first 2 weeks of them being out, they're all bought up, and you can't get them for less than like $80. And you're like, this is absurd, man.
Yeah. Have you I know you've watched like Alpha Investments before, right? I don't know if you've seen his whole thing. Like
Alpha Investments is my guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's getting the fuck out too. It seems like, or like he's just kind of like moving away from it as much.
Yeah, well, he was saying months ago, he's like, look, man, like they're just making bad decisions for like the secondary market, and it's hurting everyone, and like it's hurting them. They're doing these like card drops on Amazon, So like you buy directly from them, and it hurts the smaller game stores that are like built around this format of like selling cards, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like, by comparison, you look at like, I don't know if you've like seen or read into like what Flesh and Blood does. But like they're very specifically like for the players, for LGSs. Like Flesh and Blood's whole model is like, we come out with a first edition set. That's probably like what collectors are going to go after. Our unlimited sets will be printed to demand, as long as there is a demand. Like even their like first set, if you want one of the first boxes that came out years ago of their unlimited first set, you can still buy those direct from them today, and they're like $60-$70 still. Yeah. Like the price isn't inflated because they're printing as long as there's demand.
Or is Flesh and Blood the guy that originally made Magic?
I'm not 100% certain, but I know the other big thing they do is they don't allow big box retailers to sell their product. They will only allow
that's not
LGS.
Who I was thinking of. The designer's James White.
Yeah. Who are we thinking of? I know Sorcery TCG is the other one that's getting big. I can't remember who.
Richard Garfield.
That one. Yeah, Richard Garfield is who made Magic.
Yeah. I thought him or one of his like right-hand man kind of guys went off and made another game. Game recently.
I feel like if it was anything, it'd be because I think we talked a while ago about Sorcery, that newer game that came out. I think they were just recently shipping out their beta boxes of their first set, because it had who's that famous fantasy artist that you
Frazetta?
Yeah, Frazetta. They have a bunch of Frazetta art allowed in the set, like they licensed it or whatever to be on their cards.
That's pretty cool. Because I know that Wizards did a fucking secret lair that was Frazetta art, and I was like, you guys are bastards charging people this much for these cards.
Yeah. No, because I remember looking at the art, like there's so many of these up and coming like TCGs that are like putting the actual effort into like building a nice quality product that looks beautiful, and then you still have like Wizards over here that are just like, we're gonna print fucking curled foils for you to try to collect and charge you, $40 a pack so you can collect these cards that are gonna curl like a fucking Pringle. Trash.
Yep. All right.
We can move off that. Yeah.
All right. So next up, we got some Twitch drama.
Yeah.
This has to do with Twitch. This is coming from a Polygon article, so take it with a grain of salt. Or don't. Whatever you want. But this is Twitch changes sexual content guidelines after, quote, topless meta goes viral. So
yeah, I believe it was
last week, I believe. Yeah, December 15th as well.
I also did hear that they did it and then they rolled back some of the initial policy change
because people went wild with it.
Yeah, because they unbanned it for artistic representation. I think people were like straight up on there like drawing hentai like uncensored.
Yeah, and they were kind of like drawing like very veiny dicks and stuff.
Yeah, they were kind of like, okay, like we get it, like you're drawing these.
The art section was like completely uninhabitable.
Yeah, so I think they kind of rolled that back where it's like, okay, you can't just like go drawing like boobs, dicks, and vag on the fucking stream.
Basically, Twitch is changing its rules around sexual content after increased attention to the so-called topless meta. Several streamers went viral in early December for streaming while being perceived as topless, with creative framing like a low-cut tube top or nipple covers and a properly positioned camera. The streamers maintain the illusion of being naked while live on Twitch. One streamer and OnlyFans model who goes by Morgpie online was banned by Twitch after a topless stream, but the ban was for, quote, off-screen boob clapping and not participating in the, quote, topless meta, she said. So this is kind of on the back of like long history of like people pushing the envelope. The hot tub meta of 2021, booby streamers before that,
Yeah.
The article here is trying to claim that once again, people are angry at successful women on the internet.
Yeah. So Morg Pie, who is being hailed as like the big innovator behind this movement, she was banned. I think they allowed her back on, and then actually, as of 5 hours ago, it's reported she just got banned again. This time, we don't know for how long. For apparently breaking content restrictions again. And it's like, okay, you've already kind of been thrown a bone here, and if you're still somehow breaking them, I don't see how you should be allowed back on.
Yeah, so this article is saying, under the new changes, Twitch will now allow streamers to broadcast content that deliberately highlights breast, buttocks, or pelvic region, even when fully clothed.
Yeah.
In addition, the former sexually suggestive content policy was out of line with industry standards and resulted in female-presenting streamers being disproportionately penalized. Likewise, streamers can write on their bodies, something aligns with Twitch's body art policies. Strip teases are also now allowed with the sexual content label, as well as, quote, twerking, grinding, and pole dancing. Streamers can't stream inside a strip club, however.
Yeah.
Also benefits artists on the platform, as Twitch now allows people to stream drawing with a focus on fictionalized, drawn, animated, or sculpted sexual body parts regardless of gender, like live nude figure drawing. This needs the sexual themes label, however, an art of fictionalized sexual acts or masturbation is still not allowed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the ending of the article. It just talks about people and their reactions to it, which, of course, with something like this is mixed. You got the people who benefit from it saying, yes, this is good now. And then you got the people that are like, why are we letting there be porn on Twitch?
Yeah.
It's just...
Which... Yeah. A lot of, like... I just know I've been hearing people talk, like, I've been seeing people post the clips and the pictures of, like, these streamers who are putting either, like, censor bars over themselves, like, or doing this dumb shit. My thing is, okay, I get it. Maybe you're trying to, like, you know, do this thing where, like, oh, women aren't disproportionately penalized for all this whole thing. My thing is, maybe just change the policy to make it so everyone has to wear a fucking shirt. Because, like, I don't know.
Well,
like,
I think that, because talking about, like, booby streamers, it was, like, they were wearing very low-cut tops and stuff like that, where, like, basically everything down to the nipple was out.
Yeah.
And people were like, this is soft porn, basically, you know? Or even, like, the hot tub stuff where it's, like, girls would be wearing, like, micro bikinis and stuff like that in these hot tubs. And
yeah,
it's content that's, like, risque and very on the line. And I think that Twitch generally tries to be, like, an almost safe for work kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for people to be, like, pushing the envelope that far is surprising. I think that these changes initially were surprising.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the walk back on it, whatever that is, because I'm not familiar with it, was inevitable. I know you had guys like Moist Critical, Ludwig, and a bunch of other people come out and be like, what the fuck is Twitch doing, dude?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys are... I mean, a couple of them are, like, big names as far as, like, streaming goes. And for them to be like, how did you not expect this to be, like, taken to the extreme?
Oh, yeah.
Which it immediately was. I mean, the art section is, like... Yeah, people
complete degeneracy.
Yeah. I honestly... I don't know what I think about this, because it's like... A lot of people are saying, oh, like, minors use Twitch. Yeah, but minors also have unrestricted access to the internet anyway. So...
Yeah, that's my thing, is, like, I don't know. I just... I think it comes down to like what is Twitch trying to do here? Like, okay, are you trying to lean into like being strictly like kind of this like gaming, just chatting platform, or are we moving towards that like, oh, we're gonna start letting adult content on here?
Yeah.
I think you really have to like. It feels like they're trying to toe the line and not step on anybody's toes in this regard. Where they're like, oh yeah, we can have like these like more adult
and I mean like even if
streamers.
I just brought up Twitch on my other monitor here, and like you don't see any of that stuff. It's not like promoted on the front page.
Yeah, I think they did mention they had definitely changed the like algorithm for the front page to where like none of that stuff was actually going to get promoted. Like you basically have to like search it out or already know who you're looking for, or just even like going into that like certain section. Yeah, I don't know. I think they just need to like Twitch needs to.
That said, if you click on freaking just chatting right now, it is just girls.
Of course.
Good
yep.
God, what the fuck,
dude? It's this is nonsense.
I gotta back out of this. It's degenerate.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, yeah, it just.
I think it's too far. I changed my mind in the last 2 minutes. I think it's too far.
Yeah, you know what? I was leaning more into that, and then as soon as I clicked on that just chatting page, I just feel like Twitch had a classiness to it, where like you actually had some.
Yeah, it wasn't
decent,
like Kick or something where people just like stream porn and scream slurs and shit like that. It was like Twitch actually kind of cares about like having a decent community, and I feel like this is a move completely in the opposite direction. It's like
that's what I was gonna say. It just feels like classless. I don't know.
There.
Like it just feels like they're pandering. Like it feels like they made this change and immediately all like you've got this whole new. And I maybe it's great for Twitch. Like maybe they're banking off of this because all of a sudden they have a whole new group of like streamers coming in.
I was listening to a video with Destiny and one of these guys that's like he represents multiple people on Twitch, and the guy was like, yeah, I basically had to like message people from Twitch on Discord and be like, what are you guys doing? Because like my advertisers are all gonna pull out now. Like,
yeah,
you can't be like showing our ads on these people's streams, because I mean this was like the basis of the YouTube adpocalypse years ago. It was like, oh, I saw a Coca-Cola commercial on a Nazi video, like, and then Coca-Cola or whoever, Disney, all of them were like, oh yeah, this isn't a safe place to advertise, so we're gonna pull our advertising.
Yep, adpocalypse.
I mean, that's basically what got threatened with Twitch, and probably why they walked it back a lot. But as I just said, you click Twitch, you click just chatting, which is like the first category. It's got 334,000 viewers in the just chatting category, and your first video,
it's just all cleavage. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I think they're just heading down the wrong path at that point.
Yeah. To be fair, all I really use Twitch for is drops whenever there's drops for like Hunt Showdown. So, oh fuck, Nino's on. Oh man.
Oh.
He's my guy for Hunt. If you're interested whatsoever in Hunt Showdown, there's a dude, Nino, Neenoh. The guy is just chill and a father, and he games, and he looks like one of the boys. Yeah.
No, I just, I think it's going to cause a lot of issues, and I think it's just a bad look. So,
Yeah, all right. So let's move on to our final piece of news here. Rebel Moon came out today. Neither one of us have seen it yet, but we kind of want to talk about like early reviews and review scores and whether or not we're excited for it.
Yeah.
Reviews. Bad.
Yeah. 24%. 24% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics.
31% on Metacritic.
Yeah.
But then, audience scores, not so bad. 85% of Google users liked it. You were saying, what, 70-something?
76% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
We're liking it. So, yeah, vastly different. And I don't know. I guess we'll only really know once we watch it and discuss it, because it's kind of like, you know, maybe some of these critics are biased. They have a Disney bias, and they want to be,
you
know,
getting that Disney money.
They want to be chucking positive reviews on Star Wars and making anything else look bad.
Yep. So this is an interesting movie because it's distributed by Netflix. I don't know how many theaters it came out in, but it is available to watch today, December 21st on Netflix. So, again, this is Zack Snyder directing. Zack Snyder, if you want to talk about like autism, he's known for like tone and ambience, I guess.
This is Star Wars Snyder Cut.
This was based on his script that he pitched to Lucasfilm, which got some changes to not be Star Wars. So, I think what he was going for, if I remember right, was like an R-rated Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think that's how I remember it being.
I believe we did talk about that.
Cast looks fun. Charlie Hunnam, I like seeing him and stuff. Ed Skrein, he's a pretty good guy. Anthony Hopkins, Ray Fisher. I guess for the comparison to like Star Wars, I'm excited to see it. Just to be like, does this hold up? Is this fun? Is this what Star Wars should be nowadays? Or is this just like a sad clone of it?
Yeah. Yeah, time will tell. But I guess, we'll discuss it on the next episode. Other than... have you seen any other good movies lately?
Yeah, but we're going to talk about it in the next episode.
Oh, are we talking about other? Is that okay? Yeah, I went and saw a movie last night in theaters.
Oh, what'd you see?
I went and saw the final Miyazaki movie. I went and saw The Boy and the Heron.
Oh, did you?
I did. Yeah. So it was all right. Are you
a big Miyazaki guy? Because I feel like the people who like Miyazaki are like, every one of these movies is a masterpiece.
Yeah, I'm not. I actually prefer Makoto Shinkai, who is like the people tout him as the modern Miyazaki. He did like Your Name, Weathering with You, like all these like really nicely animated films. Sometimes the pacing in Miyazaki's films just kind of bores me. I got a little bored with this one. It felt like it dragged out a little bit. It felt a little long-winded. I think overall, especially towards the end of it, I did like, because it definitely has a theme within the movie that's like, it's very clear what he was doing, where he was saying his goodbye. Like, this was Miyazaki's goodbye. It's his final film. And there's really a part of it where you're kind of like, in the film, it's very clear, like, this character's trying to pass on a torch of like world building, and it's kind of like it's not picked up, and it's basically like when the film comes to an end, it feels like there's a finality to it, with especially his career included. So yeah, it was all right. That's what I'm gonna give it.
Do you have an out of 10 score?
A score? I'd give it like a 6.5. I'd recommend seeing it, but again, I think it was a little too long-winded for me to be like, yeah, this is a masterpiece. This is phenomenal. It's, you know,
I've never been
decent.
much of a Miyazaki guy. they're always very well animated, but I always feel like the stories they're just paced so slow, and the movies are so long, and I find myself a little bored after a while. I think the only one that I would confidently say that I like is like Princess Mononoke, but it's because there's like action and adventure going on. Whereas with a lot of them, it kind of, I don't know, like Howl's Moving Castle has a lot of like interesting visuals, but then like I get bored watching it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I agree. We watched that one the other day before we went and saw this one, and I was like, I think at some point we were just kind of like, yeah, it's just like, there's just parts of it that it just slows way down to like basically a halt, and you really feel it. So
yeah,
but yeah. All right, well, that's it for
Endcap on AI here.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were gonna do our AI talk. I forgot.
All right, so we've watched a lot of movies now where AI play a significant role in them. We've fucked around with AI girlfriends. God, what's been like your lingering impression, I guess, on this whole little AI thing that we've gone through?
I think it's very raw, but it's like really cool. Like I don't look at it right now as like, oh, this is a danger to everything. Like I do see where there are the dangers of it, especially with like deepfake stuff going on, and how like the protections need to be put in place, and then potential like issues within like the workforce and like it taking jobs. I think we're a little far off from that in the current state. I think right now it's great for entertainment purposes. I like when we were fucking around with Talkie. That's some of the most fun I've had fucking around on an app in a while.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Interesting little anecdote here.
Popping off.
Like the AI cover songs of different things. Apparently, one of the biggest genres of those are J-Schlatt covers. So J-Schlatt, for anyone who doesn't know, is like a streamer and a YouTuber. He made a video recently talking about this phenomenon of AI covers of him singing things, have like millions and millions of views. So what he did kind of in response to that was he actually sat down and made a cover album where he like covers Sinatra and some other people. And
that's genius.
No fucking lie, he fucking kills it. Like he sang Sinatra's "My Way," and it was a legitimately good cover. Yeah, I was like, this is crazy. I think it's because they both have that like slight New York accent. Yeah, and like it just, he did really fucking great with it. But he was saying he was getting like texts from people that he hasn't talked to in like years being like, oh, I heard your cover of this song, I didn't know you could sing that well, and him being like, what the fuck are they talking about? And it's like an AI cover.
Yeah. I've seen some of like Ludwig, like people have done Ludwig's like voice singing random nonsense. I've seen some Obama ones.
Well, that's kind of fun because Ludwig was a singer.
Yeah. He was a drama. Yeah, he was a drama kid.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. No, those ones are pretty funny. I have seen quite a few of those floating around.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like after reading Neuromancer, after watching these movies and things, like I feel like my lingering impressions are that like men's loneliness is a lot bigger of a problem than is currently getting attention.
Yeah.
Not to like speak down on like other issues in the world, but I think it's like a cross-societal, cross-continental issue is like young men feeling like they have no purpose, feeling like they have no one to talk to and nowhere to go.
I would agree. I think that's why you have this rise in like the incel Coomer culture going on, where like these dudes just like they're feeling alone. They don't. They're. I think they're just not well socialized and can't. And I think it's gotten to a point now where they're turning to these like darker areas of the web.
I mean, even just like anecdotally here, one of my coworkers, her younger brother, came in, and I was talking to him for a while, and I was just like talking to him like I would anyone else, just like asking him about school and stuff, because he's a high school kid. And like apparently just having that conversation with him left like a pretty strong impression, because she was like, yeah, my brother is like obsessed with you. I'm like, that's interesting, because like I really do believe that there's an issue nowadays where like young men feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. I feel like social circles are shrinking. I saw a study that was like most men don't feel like they have a best friend, which like is absolutely heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
Like knowing that so many people, because it was like an absurd statistic. It was like 4 out of 5 men say that they do not have a best friend. 3 out of 5 men say that they don't talk to their friends on like more than a monthly basis. I was like, these numbers are heartbreaking. They're like astounding in the worst possible way. Like,
yeah,
it's awful. It's awful to think that like people are so alone in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
And that so many people feel like they don't have a community,
Yeah. It's a big problem. I think a lot of it is from the rise of social media and just chronically online culture. I think people are too into that. I just think it that prevents people from getting out and forming actual societal bonds. Like I don't know. It's rough, and so obviously, when that's already a super prevalent thing in their lives, they're just going to turn to talking, and they're going to turn to the AI to keep them, keep them feeling like they're able to socialize at all.
And I think even if you look back, probably like 30 years ago, like how popular like tabletop gaming was and role-playing stuff, like that's when everything was like blowing up. And nowadays, I feel like there's more money than ever in D&D and in Paizo and all these other companies, these smaller gaming companies. It's good that they've been getting more attention. But like, I probably don't know anyone who is like as versed a DM as like I am, probably you are, that like has a regular gaming group. Like, it's really hard to get people to like commit to a time every week. I mean, just talking about like our podcast here, like you and me have committed to this, but like we've ventured into possibly having other people be like recurring, and they straight up like have issues with scheduling constantly, where it's like,
Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
Fucking Tom.
Not that he'll ever listen to this.
No, yeah, he won't. Nope. Fucking Tom. Matt every now and then. Matt's been the most consistent guest we've had.
Well, I mean, I think we've had him on like 3 times, and I think we probably had Tom on about 3 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like getting people to be like, yeah, I'm gonna commit to like the first Saturday of every month we have our like game day or whatever, or like, I don't know, just things like that. It's really, really hard. And I don't know if that's like society has changed, or like community has changed, or like we as people have changed, where it's like, I don't want to, I don't know, like it hurts, to think that like people don't set aside time for their friends,
Yeah. No, definitely. It's just, it's rough. But I think it is a major issue, and I don't know. I've even thought about it, and I've been like, maybe like trying to create something. Like I feel like there needs to be some greater, like not like a company, but like a greater like creating like groups or like almost like support groups for like.
Well, it used to be that like people had their church or whatever, right? So you'd have like your church or your sports team, and like think about high school for us, where like we had true brotherhood with like our fellow like cross country runners, or in track and field it was like whatever your event was, it was like those guys were like you talk to them every day, they were your best friends, you could tell them anything, and maybe it's like as we get older, like we just don't have those institutions around us anymore. And there aren't pre-existing institutions like that,
Mm-hmm.
Because
I think it's really gotten to that point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I think it's gotten to that point where I think I feel like I've seen it as far as like it goes, like for like high school, like it seems like a lot of these teams, like I our high school cross country and track team like pages on Facebook, like I follow those. I see them posting pictures, and I look at the size of like the men's, like the boys cross country team, and I'm like, it is like maybe a third or a fourth of the size of what it was when we were there. Like I feel like it's gotten to this point where there's been this societal shift towards wanting to be online, wanting to play video games, wanting to be a streamer, wanting to be a YouTuber, wanting to make content, wanting to be a content creator. And so kids have gravitated toward, like, away from doing sports or finding within their school and within their peers, finding a group to fit in with, and instead they're going home and trying to, create an online persona. And I feel like it's created the shift towards just being alone.
Yeah. I mean, even the other day I was watching General Sam, another YouTuber guy. I think he streams a bit. But it was him, a couple other guys on his podcast, and they had a like psychologist on there, and they just took like people in his Discord and they talked to them about their like problems or whatever with this psychologist there. And they kept joking early on in it that they were like, oh, people are going to come in here and they're probably just going to have like stupid jokes like, oh, my penis is growing out of my butt or something like that. Like, what do I do about that? But then like guy after guy after guy came in and they were like, I'm lonely. I don't feel like I have anyone I can talk to. My grandfather died, and that was like 6 months ago, and I feel like I have to be strong for my family, and I can't show my emotions, and it was just fucking heartbreaking, dude. And they had another kid on there. It was like, yeah, I was like 10 minutes away from like trying to commit suicide before a cop came up to me at not a Wawa, I think it was like a Tim Hortons or something in Ohio. And this cop started talking to him, and they talked for a bit, and the guy was like, well, I can get you help, and basically like sent him to a extended stay institution kind of thing, and the kid was there for like a few days. And like all of these, God, man, just like the number of guys that were on there that were like, yeah, I just feel like I can't show my emotions. I feel like the world like would think less of me for that. Is heartbreaking, man, because you look at like these old stories, these old epic poems of like the Odyssey, right, where like at the end of the story, like Odysseus gets home and he sheds a tear because he's like finally home, and you're like, yeah. You didn't cry once in like 20 years of trying to get home, and then he finally gets there and is just like overcome with emotion. and or like in Tolkien, like men weep in Tolkien, and oh man, like I don't know, like it. I definitely feel like there are times where it's been difficult to express emotion and things like that. Like back when I was 19, my uncle died, and like you're going through this just like insane set of circumstances where it's like your mom and your aunt and your grandparents are like sobbing, and my mom is an admittedly not particularly healthy individual, and she's like kind of making it all about herself, you know, and you're like, you're supposed to be the adult and be strong for everyone else, you know, and like I'm like white knuckle driving to the funeral with the family in the car, just like stop this, you know, like
yeah. No, I think we moved into this point in society where men were discouraged. I mean, you have to put on a strong face, you're not allowed to show your emotions. You gotta basically be a robot, be strong for everyone else. And it's just kind of like, I feel like we got to a point where we started moving away from that, and people were trying to be like, yeah, it's okay, show your emotions. And then we got to this point where you started having the youth, you know, the young men in the world idolizing Andrew Tate and like fucking like Sneeko and these guys who are just like the worst part of like
but I
basically
think
trying to like lead them.
Minority. I don't think that most people are like seeing that stuff and going like, that's what I need to be like. I think it's like people
it seems
who
like
have
it does hurt it, but yeah, I think it is a smaller portion than the majority. I just think, man, like it's hurting any sort, like it's for some boys, young men, it's hurting like any progress they've made towards, you know, emotional maturity. Yeah. But hopefully we can get to a point where, you know, again, society gets okay with like, hey, you're allowed to show emotion,
and you
connect
also
with your
see
peers.
These, like horrific videos on like on like YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels and shit like that of these girls being like, like he started talking about like his grandfather died and he started like crying, and it was just like such an ick, and you're like, what the fuck, dude?
I was about to say the ick trend really has.
The ick trend is fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's really not helping things, because I mean it's just creating a point where like men have to.
Yeah, because you see the shit and then you're like, oh, like you're just thinking in like generalizations. You're like, oh, women are actually kind of deranged, and you're like, no, most people aren't like that. Most people are like empathetic, and they're like, oh, you were like really close to your uncle or your father, or your mother, your sister, brother, your friend who committed suicide. Like, and you're gonna be empathetic and be like, yeah, that's a horrific thing to go through, and I really feel for you.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a problem with being online culture in general, is the voice of the minority gets just fucking like pumped out. It is like, man. So I think online culture is the worst of society, and it's like society as a whole is much better than that. It's just people are so it's a drug. Like, people are so addicted to it, and you know, just scrolling through and seeing what's there. And it's like it's fucking cancer.
Yeah, I agree.
So, well, I feel like
I think that's it, because
I think we can end on that note.
That's like my major takeaway from AI is just that like it just reinforced how like sad and alone people are.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just a male issue. I think that it's just like incarnated the most within men, because men have like way higher suicide rates right now than ever before historically, and that's partially because there are more men. I mean, there's more people alive now than ever historically, but also like the access to self-destruction is just so easily available.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, dour note to end on, but
hey, yeah, if you made it this far,
help, please get yourself help.
Yeah, if you need help, there's many online resources. If you are in the United States of America, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. Or text HOME, HOME, to 741-741. Take care of yourselves.
Please do.
And, feel free to reach out to us.
As someone who has lost a friend to suicide, please get yourself help.
Yeah. If you know what, we're here for you. If you need help, reach out. Tweet us, DM us. No one should have to go through alone.
So we are the Bad Pipe Podcast. If you want to message us on Twitter, you can do that at
Bad Pipes Pod.
If for some unhinged reason you wanted to financially support the podcast, you could do that at patreon.com/Bad Pipes Podcast. And if you just want to email us a question, you can do that at cryptidworksofficial@gmail.com. Is that everything? Oh yeah, Carl Casey does the music. Follow Carl Casey at White Bat Audio.
White Bat Audio. Yeah, I think that's it.
So this was a short episode. We're gonna have another short episode coming out with this one, where we talk about Aguirre, the Wrath of God by Werner Herzog. Good night. I love you.
All right.